don't know really what's wrong with Dead or Departed, but it's just like it was just everything crammed into 45 minutes. At least if they'd give it about an hour 30, they could have flushed out the story and stuff. The only really good thing about the season, well, whatever you want to consider it, is I guess Cole turning back into a human because I hated him turning into a ghost. Really sucked for the team. He kind of like held them back, but it's the only good thing about Dead or Departed. Now, this season, well, it really wasn't bad. It was just the airing time, and I really like other seasons better than this one. But really, the airing, like, I watched, like, the first beginning of the season, and, like, 8 months later, my cousin was like, go look on YouTube, Ninjago dropped a new video. And I'm like, okay. I look at it, and it's finally the episodes. I'm like, dang. Then 4 months later, they air on Cartoon Network in the U.S., and I'm like, Jesus. But this season is good for as Garmadon being good. The final battle was very emotional for everyone. Especially considering that I like Zane as well. It was very emotional. This season, well, it was good, I guess. I like the snakes. I guess I only really liked the Pythor. I didn't like the fact that he was the only anaconda I left. That was really cool because if there would have been multiple, it would have been a better season. Since in season 4, we learned more about them. So we learned more about their powers and how strong they was. But to me, I don't get it. If they were so strong, how was it so easy to beat up Pythor? Like, Wu would beat up Pythor like in 10 seconds. Like, but I guess that's the only bad thing. I like the whole Garmadon stealing the golden weapons. That was some good stuff right there. And Kai realizing that everything isn't about him. It's really going to be about Lloyd. For this season, I love it because it shows the first Ninjutsu Master as being like a godlike figure and stuff. How he created this place and he hid 4 weapons, but he made prophecies, multiple. Like how there would be 4 ninja to guide it. 1 ninja would become the green ninja. We learned about Garmadon, and we learned with the little mini movies, we learned more about Garmadon being banished, but we learned that Garmadon was bit by the Great Devourer, which caused him to turn evil. Wow, that was like mind-boggling. We learned about Samukai, who eventually passed. But we learned that the vehicles that they used eventually was created by Zane's own dad. This season would have been a lot better if it would have been flushed out. Like, it would have been like a lot better if those filler episodes didn't exist. Those things are entertaining, but they are terrible. Very terrible. Like one of them only increases the plot with Lloyd becoming older. Then we learn about Misako being alive, his mother, how she dropped him off at the Bordley's school for bad kids thing. We learned that Zane's father is indeed alive. He was revived. Then we learn more about the first Ninjutsu Master and the other part of the story that he split Ninjago in 2 halves. So it was like a big island. Yeah, which was crazy. So they have the Dark Island. You have the indestructible Stone Army, who's not really indestructible when they get their little weapons. Yeah, so I guess that was good. And you got the Overlord, how he manipulated Garmadon the whole entire time. Like, Garmadon didn't expect anything. He thought he was going to be the ultimate one, but always it was going to be the Overlord. Eventually, we got Garmadon being good, which was great. The cliffhanger from season 4 led us straight into this season. Like, we see Morrow escape, and we seen him come out of the little cursed realm, and it's like, it's just so weird. I was like, what? Then season 5 aired, and you see more mature side. Towards the end, we learned that Nia do indeed have powers. We were introduced to Ronin, who I honestly just don't care about. He's more of a little iffy. He's an anti-hero. You know, he wants to work with the ninjas, but he wants money and all that. But eventually he comes around. We learn Sensei Wu didn't just expect one of his 4 ninja to be like, he didn't expect them to be the Green Ninja. He knew that he had to dabble with more people. He knew that. He didn't know exactly who would be the Green Ninja, but he knew he had to dabble, and he learned that Maro had the elemental power of wind. So, okay, maybe he could be the Green Ninja. I don't know. Even though I think it was Lloyd. If you figured out that elemental powers were passed on descendantly, Lloyd would have powers, even if it does skip a generation, which we learned Nia's didn't skip a generation. She just needed for it to be unlocked. I like it, but it just didn't live up to its predecessor, season 4. I like this season very much, but I kind of think that if Garmadon would have been in the season, it would have been very, very good. But it did leave us with a cliffhanger. Like 2 seasons in a row left us with cliffhangers, and those 2 were like top 3 for me. Like, I like season 7. I like to introduce to Powers of Time, what they can do. Like, they used some creative ways using that time. They didn't like mess over their powers, like underuse them. Like Kai's father and all of them underused their powers. No, they overused their powers. They used their powers to the limit. Like, they did what any rational person would do if they had powers and they wanted to fight. I'm going to use my powers to the limit if I know my powers are just as strong, because I control time itself. Eventually, Chronix comes from out of the time warp, younger than Crux. Crux was right under Wu's nose the whole entire time. Sensei Wu's hit with the little time blade, and he's aging. Also, Ray's hit with the time blade. Sensei Wu does this cool little move where he spins the little time thing, the little time dragon thing. I can't think of it right now. After he twisted that little thing, he threw them back into the present, and I guess he turned into a baby. But what's really crazy to me is, how come Ray didn't turn into a baby? Where is Ray? Like, we gotta stop the plot hole. Well, during this season, it was more of a focus on Jay, which I really liked. Like, Jay is like my favorite ninja. But then you got fleshed out with him and Nia. Nia seen and knew that she would always be with Jay, no matter what. But she doesn't want to be, because she doesn't want to depend on a man. She wants to depend on herself. But eventually, she knows that Jay really loves her, no matter what. Then they end up being together. Nadakan is captured, and that's it. No cliffhangers for season 7, so it was good. It lived up to its predecessor, season 5. This one left from we learned that the ninja would have new updated designs similar to the ones in the Ninjago movie, which I strongly dislike. I think Nia looks better. Kai, I really hate that hair. Cole, I hate that hair as well. Zane, he's still the same to me. But it was more of a different Ninjago, like with Cyrus Borg when he did the whole change in Ninjago. Then you learned about the Oni Master, more about the first Ninjutsu Master, that he came from another place, that there's more than just Ninjago. Like, it was crazy to me. Like, he came from being part of an evil and a good side, the yin and yang, which is always used in Japanese or Chinese culture. I really don't know, so I don't want to say I know. I don't want nobody backlash at me. But yeah, the yin and yang, he was the yin and yang, but he left because of the conflict. So maybe there's more people like him, stronger probably than him. Did you really think anything else would be number 1 besides this? Honestly, like, this is the best season ever. No matter what anybody says, everybody always puts this at the top of their list. We are introduced to more people, that there's more people like the ninja. We learn about Chin. We learn about there's dark arts people. We learn about all different kind of powers. Like, you can mimic other people's power when you touch them. Shapeshift, speed. not wind, but we would learn about wind, earth, nature. You get mind, ash, smoke, stealthy. How did these people stay hidden all these years? Light. It was great. Like, this is the best season ever. Like, that final battle was great. Carmen giving up his whole life. It was great as well. I really, really, really like this season. Like, it's the best season ever. I love this season. I like Sensei won this season. I like the conflict that Chin caused, because he's the reason why Lloyd is technically born. Because what if Lloyd was Wu's son? How would Ninjago be different? But because of that letter, it swayed the way that Misako felt. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe, please.